So, natives were not considered US citizens until 1924. And that was brought about because of World War I. A Republican actually proposed that natives become citizens. And before that, natives were considered citizens of their individual tribes. But you had to denounce your tribe if you wanted to be a citizen of the United States. So even within the boundaries of the United States, if you were born native, if you didn't denounce your tribe, you were not considered a U.S. citizen. Anyway, so that was brought about because of World War One. And in case you didn't know, the huge reasons why we won World War One and World War Two are because of native languages. And native languages were so rarely known across the world. And it wasn't just Navajo code talkers. So Navajo code talkers are one. You might be familiar with the term code talker. The native language was so rare amongst the rest of the world that they were talking in code. It's not talking in code. It was just rare languages in perspective of the rest of the world. And so there were Navajo code talkers, there were Hopi code talkers, Blackfeet code talkers. There were code talkers throughout different tribal nations. Um, and so in 1924, they proposed that natives actually become citizens. They're fighting our wars with us. Why are we not considered citizens? So in 1924, natives were allowed to become citizens as well as maintain their tribal identity. And what's crazy is 1924 is just over 100 years ago, right? We're 2025, 101 years ago. And before that, my grandparents were born before that. So my grandparents were not considered US citizens when they were born, which is crazy. So, how could you call us Native American if my grandparents weren't even American when they were born? So, this is one of the things I'm always saying, just call us natives or tribal nations natives, because I know that all of North and South America, people say they're Native American uh, because we're in the Americas and we're all native to the Americas. So I say tribal nations natives because we are very specific to having tribal nations. And in Canada, there's First Nations, and here we actually technically on our tribal ID cards it says tribal nation, and so tribal nations natives. But so yeah, my grandparents were not considered U.S. citizens when they were born. And even at that, once they passed this law, the Indian Citizenship Act of 1924, natives still did not have the right to vote. That didn't come until it was a long fight, and there were multiple fights because even though they said, okay, now you can vote, a lot of states were like, no, we don't want you to vote here. So eventually we did get rights to vote. But anyway, uh, June 2nd, 1924, Indian Citizenship Act was passed. So, yes, in the Declaration of Independence, we are considered merciless Indian savages, and we were not considered US citizens until 1924. And I hope to do more of the history with this page because I made the calendar and I was like, oh, this was my intention the whole time, but life, but I'm here. So this is your Native History lesson today, June 2nd, Indian Citizenship Act. We became US citizens in 1924.